until you get to about 1930, and I usually put 1930 as kind of the end point of the best of, I think, American Lutheranism, at least. And that is, 1930 is the year that Joseph Stump publishes this little book called, it's a summary of the Christian faith. I think this is just called The Christian Faith, which is a little kind of systematic theology, and he's got this great section on the mystical union. That's kind of the last real good treatment I could find. And from that point forward, there are a lot of reasons for this, but essentially the ideas of the German Academy start to infiltrate, in effect, what Lutherans in the United States are teaching and believing. This is where you get to like Seminex and the LCMS. If you know the history of the LCMS, you have Seminex, where basically the ideas of Protestant liberalism enter into the Missouri Synod. Eventually, the Synod basically splits. Those who are committed to the confessions retain the seminary, and those who are Protestant liberals leave. Now, that may be seen by some as kind of a victory. And okay, I guess in some ways, yeah, I mean, the Missouri Synod did hold very firmly to the authority of Scripture. No other like mainline denominations were able to do that. So there's something great about that, certainly. But the LCMS never dealt with the real issue, because they dealt with a lot of kind of topical issues, which are like, well, the authority of Scripture. That's essential, don't get me wrong, super important. But the underlying philosophy that led to the rejection of the authority of Scripture is all over the place. So there's a problem in a lot of Lutheran scholarship that is deeply rooted in Protestant liberalism that we really haven't actually reckoned with. And in some ways, I don't know that there's really much of an ability in a lot of seminaries to reckon with it, because we've all gotten rid of our philosophy departments. And when that happens, if there's no critical thinking about philosophy, what happens is you just adopt the philosophy as an assumption. That's the philosophy of this age. Always happens every time. Okay, so that's where we lost it. And so when I say things like theosis or this mystical union, and people hear that today and they say, that doesn't sound Lutheran. That sounds Eastern Orthodox. The reason it doesn't sound Lutheran is not because it's not Lutheran, but because the Lutheranism that has formed people alive today has largely been a post-Kantian Enlightenment Lutheranism.